Well, hey, Diet Disruptors, Carrie here, and it's been a little bit since I've been kind of this kind of episode that I'm going to dig into since I've done something like this. Last week, you got to meet Coach Shannon, who's one of the most important people to me, and love that she's on our team. And I hope that you got a chance to listen to that. The week before that, we had just come off of this like amazing 3-hour workshop that I had never done before. And so we decided to play back an oldie but goodie of a podcast. And so this week I'm like ready. I have been thinking a lot about this concept of truth and that it's actually a liar. That is not actually true. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I don't even know how this is going to go. I'm not super prepared for this because there's a lot in my brain. And as I try to prepare for these episodes, I take a lot of notes and I have stuff in front of me. And this time I'm going to just sort of be real and process out what I've been hearing a lot of lately. In fact, I did a coaching call. I do coaching calls every single week with our clients. And I did a coaching call on this because it was so important to me. And then I recorded an additional training to add to our learning portal where our clients are and they learn and they continue to grow. And I even put a part of this in the workshop that I did a few weeks ago. So it's been marinating in my brain a lot. And part of it is because I actually went to a training. I've been coaching mindsets and behaviors and nutrition mindsets and behaviors for more than 2 decades and nutrition for a decade. And putting them all together was the key. But I continuously get trained. I'm continuously going and learning. And a few months ago, I went to a training on mindsets and just understanding more about myself and coaching and things like that. And some truths hit me over the head. And I felt the need to share them because there was always this little nagging thing when we would talk to women, or even after women say yes, that I couldn't quite articulate to drive home the point of what I was trying to make. And this training that I went to and how I've been marinating on it and training our clients on it just has reminded me how important it is and how I have to bring it up to you. Now, one of the things with my coaching calls with our clients is I know every single one of our clients really well. That may be hard to believe, but there's a reason why we ask always, we open up our calendar to be able to talk to women as they come into our community and set them up for success and give them strategies, because what we do is very different than anything else you'll find out there. I just recently had someone say, no, I'm going to go a different direction. And I was like, really? A different direction than balancing your blood sugar and learning about yourself and how to make sure you do something forever. Like it floors me when they in that different direction was keto. And I thought, oh my gosh. I mean, it floors me. It's why we want to have these phone calls with women so that we can get on the same page. You can understand more about why we are so different, but we only invite, with the hundreds of people we talk to every month, about 10 to 20 people to come work with us. And the reason why I'm so adamant about that is because I want to know what's going on with every single client. We have our coaches who are absolutely incredible and they coach and connect with our clients however, we determine is appropriate. And then I keep up with them. And so when I do my coaching calls or my client calls weekly, I know what's going on. So this topic is going to be very personal for you. And there's so many of you in our members, in our free Facebook group, in the Instagram, in our Facebook page, that I feel like I think I put off going this direction with you because I didn't know you and your situation very well. However, the more and more that I'm talking about this, the more and more that I'm training on this, the more and more I realize, okay, everybody needs to hear this. So we're just going to go for it. We are just going to go for this. I know that more than 85% of women have some sort of disordered eating. Most of you, including me, have had a really poor relationship with food in your bodies. And we have this belief, like something has told us over the years that our value comes in what we look like. Now, my passion and my mission for helping people to rewrite their future, to get healthy and strong and lean, has to do with something so much more than what we look like on the outside. Because who we are on the inside is unique and important. It says back behind my desk, know your value, because I want every woman to remember that they are valuable, regardless of what they look like on the outside here. But the problem is the outside is an indication very often of our overall health and wellness. And why is that important? Well, it is, to me, a mission to change the way you look at food in your body so that you can go do the things that you were uniquely put on this earth to do. And there's nothing that makes me feel more urgent than the stats where 9 out of 10 people are in America right now are dying from a metabolic disease. A metabolic disease is high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, obesity, stroke, cancer. I mean, all of it, including aging, including your joint pain, your bone pain. There are inflammation, anything that ends with itis, all of it, even down to cravings, sleep issues, energy issues. Those are just the beginnings of the metabolic disease. And all of it stems from a dysregulated blood sugar. It's like everybody needs to know this and be urgent about it. And the thing is, that is a big part of what I teach and want people to know, especially in our group, where we have thousands and thousands of women who join and kind of dip their toe in and then don't do anything about it. And I'm always like, why? Because when we talk to women, and we're talking to hundreds of women, and they're not that urgent, but they just don't like that they weigh a certain amount, and they don't see the connection between weight gain and what that's going to mean for your future. It's a math equation, right? So I care about women taking a hold of their health and their bodies so that they can go live a long life. Like Mark Hyman says, Dr. Mark Hyman, he wants to die younger later. That has got to be the goal. That has to be what we are all about. And I know that there are so many of you that want to lose weight, and you say you want that to die younger later, but there's some stuff going on between what you want and what you do to get what you want, if that makes sense. And I have been exploring that a lot lately. Why is it that we say we want this, but we do this, and that this will never get us to that? Now, I think one of the reasons is because many of us are just super, super confused. We don't know what we're supposed to be doing, right? If that is you, put in the chat confused, because you're like, you know what, Carrie, I would do this to get what I want, but I don't know what this is. And that I completely understand. I completely understand. That is why, as an educator, I'm all about education first, that you know enough to be able to teach it. But it won't be enough for me to say, here, eat this, don't eat that. Because if you don't understand why, and life gets in the way, and you're not really strong on the nuance of how to do this in all situations of life, then you're going to fall off and you'll look for something else. So I refuse to tell you unless you tell me you're really committed and I believe you. I say that with all the love in the world, because I stay up at night thinking, if I just told people how to eat, just boom, 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 do this, don't do that, I could do it very quickly, but you won't do it. You just won't do it because it's more nuanced than that. And it's more specific than that. And so there is, though, this big cavern. So maybe you don't know, and that's fine. That is why I always say, if you want something different, you got to do something different. You book a call with one of our coaches. our coaches are literally, they all take turns and they all have calendars open, and you get on a call, first 15 minutes, just get to know us. We get to know you. What are you looking for? What's your story? Your story matters. What's your story? Here's our story, a little bit of whoever it is that you're talking to. I don't know who you're going to talk to, but you're going to hear their story too. Every single person that works for Disruptive Nutrition has their own story of transformation, and only work for us because they wanted to transform their lives and did. So you jump on for 15 minutes to be like, all right, let's talk about it. And then do you want to talk more? Do you want more strategies? Do you want to be able to figure out a plan? Then let's do that. Now, mind you, hundreds of women we talk to, we only invite 10 to 20 to come in every month to work with us. So it's not like you're sitting there going, you're just going to, this big pressure to join us. We can't. We just simply can't, or I won't be able to monitor everybody. So it's really just an amazing opportunity for you to say, this is who I am. This is what's going on. This is what I want. Help me, and help me figure out a plan to do that. It may not be working with us formally, but we will absolutely give you the strategies you need to be able to start the path forward. And this is the thing. Some people don't believe us when we say this. And I've been sitting in this truth for a long time, wondering why. I'm like, we literally put ourselves out there. Why is it? Well, there's a lot of things that go through. Like when a woman actually gets on a phone and then they get on another call and they're sitting and talking to us, and then they don't even join us formally. But my coaches still check in with them over and over again. We have women we have been checking in with for years, and they're not clients. And so I know that. And yet I sit here and also wonder, okay, so there's that strategy. What keeps a person from doing that when they say they want something different? Or what is it when maybe we do like some sort of a free training, let's say, or some sort of a challenge. We do them every once in a while, like a free seminar and stuff like that, right? And people say, yes, that's what I want. And it's totally free. And then they don't engage, right? It's so interesting. We'll do like these 5-day seminars sometimes. We haven't done one in a while because of this exact reason, but I've been exploring it and thinking through this. So we say we want this. We say we want to lose weight. We say we want something different. We say we're done with dieting. Here's like a 5-day free challenge where we are going to give you all sorts of information a little bit at a time for 5 days, right? And it's amazing how many people are like, yes, I want to do that. And then when it comes down to actually showing up, less and less people do it. And by the time 5 days comes through, less and less people have shown up for themselves. I'm like, why is that? So I have been studying this behavior for so long, and these are just a couple of examples. I mean, we could think about it with everything, right? Why we say yes to a party and then we don't want to go, or we're excited about going to a party and then when it comes to it, we're like, I don't really want to go, right? Well, first of all, our feelings, and if we rely on motivation, it's always going to wax and wane. So we might be motivated to do something at one point and then suddenly not motivated anymore, and then we just don't do it, right? And so motivation has to be at play, but it's actually deeper than that. And so if you really want this transformation, if you really want what you say you want when it comes to anything in life, and yet you're not going after it, if you've ever said, I know what to do, but I just don't do it. Have you ever said that? Put me in the comments. I know what to do. I just don't do it. And this is true for our clients. I mean, we work real hard with them. So it's less and less and less. And we're really good at that, at working with them on that. But I mean, it happens to all of us, right? I know what to do. I just don't do it. But we don't know why. We don't have that level of self-awareness. Well, here's what I'm about to tell you. This is how you're going to rewrite your future. Your truth is actually lying to you and sabotaging you. So your very first step to transformation is to acknowledge that reality is an illusion. Reality is an illusion. And what I mean by that is that your perspective on what is true or valid or justified is actually an illusion of truth based on your experience, your beliefs, what you think will happen in the future, your fear, your perspective. So I say all of that because I have been really seeing over and over again how women will come into our group, our free group, Diet Disruptor Squad, right? And they're like, oh my gosh, I want to be able to blank, 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 blank. And then they don't take any of the steps that might necessarily get them there. Or, what they want and what they do are two different things. And one of my coaches actually said, they have a wish in one hand and they poop in the other. And I've just really been wanting to explore that. And it starts with the fact that your facts aren't actually facts. Your truth is basically how you are seeing things as they appear to you. So this morning I was at hot yoga, actually, and I was thinking about what I was going to be talking about today. And I had a spot in the back of the room. And I was just thinking about my perspective from my vantage point out forward and seeing all the people in front of me, and how the teacher in the front of the class had a totally different vantage point than I did. He could see everybody's faces. I could see only everybody's backs. So me seeing people from the back, I might have interpreted how people were feeling, how people were responding, how much struggle they were on in a very different way than he was, because he could see their faces and really see if somebody was on the struggle bus or not, right? Those two vantage points were true, but they were skewed, right? They were biased based on where I was standing and where he was standing. And that's what's happening. That's what I'm realizing, that you aren't seeing things necessarily as they are, but as they appear to you. And I know that could feel weird, but you are actually in an illusion of reality. So if you say, I am too busy, that becomes your reality. And then very often things keep coming up to prove that you're right. So you don't actually have to do the thing that you say you want because you have a justified excuse not to. You're too busy. It's too hard. You know what? It's just, I don't want to have to think about all the food. I don't want to have to think about PFC. I don't want to have to, it's too hard. Well, that's a perception probably based on your experience before and a fear of either failing in the future or even succeeding in the future, believe it or not. It's too hard is not truth, but it's your perception of truth, and you justify not doing something because you very much believe it is truth. Let's go back to my example about being too busy. It's because you feel very busy. You feel very chaotic. Understand though, that may or may not be true. That's actually a mindset versus a reality. I think all the time about people in my life that don't have any kids and they work. And then I think about clients. We have one client who has 9 kids and works, and she shows up for herself. It's a choice. And the truth isn't that you're necessarily too busy, but it feels that way. So it becomes truth for us. Does that make sense? So when we do this, we have to understand that our reality is how the world occurs to us, and it becomes part of our identity. So if you were sitting wondering, and I think about the fact that we're in February, March, end of February, beginning of March. And those of you that were all on this plan in the new year, in the January, to do X, Y, and Z to get healthy, to lose weight, and you're still where you are, not making any progress, it's really because of how right now your truth is being presented to you. Why are you not showing up for yourself? Very likely you have sat in certain truths that give you permission to not act. And if those truths continue to be there and you don't question them at all, you are unable to make progress. And without visiting these truths that are really probably not true, You're never, ever going to go to where you say you want to go. Is this making sense? Do you see why I felt like I couldn't write it down? I needed to kind of say it out loud. And then here's what we do. Then we hear from other people that have the same kind of truth, or that you know will support you in your fake truth, and you tell them. Right? You say to them, oh my gosh, I've been following this woman, Carrie, and she talks about eating PFC3. And I know she's got this approach that is just like transformative. These women just talk about it all the time. But honestly, I do not have time. Like, I have 3 kids. I have a job. I mean, yeah, I want to lose these 20 pounds, but like, I do not have time to dig into all of that. Well, what I see is a woman, it's not about the fact that she needs to lose 20 pounds. That's not it. I see a woman who is gaining weight. Her hormones are out of control. She has cravings. She's not sleeping. She's cranky. She's depressed. And she doesn't realize that all those things are leading her towards that statistic I told you where 9 out of 10 people are dying of a metabolic disease. That she is on a one-way road to chronic illness and to dying younger, earlier. dying older, earlier. That's what I see. So I keep thinking, wait. You've made this truth just about 20 pounds. And that's why the weight doesn't matter, because you know what? Nobody's going to lose 20 pounds by tomorrow. So you might as well just keep putting it off. But when you realize how urgent this is, and how if you really don't want your kids to have to take care of you, maybe the way you have to take care of your parents, then that can't be the truth anymore, that you're just too busy. But you tell a friend who's also busy and they say, yeah, I mean, you got to do you. You just got to do what's right for you. Don't, if you can't do it, you can't do it. Very often that friend hasn't done it either. And that's allowing the justification to come through. It's called confirmation bias. It's actually a thing. You confirm that you're right by making sure you talk to other people. If you came and talked to me and had coffee with me and said, oh, I just have like, a new baby, or I have a mom I have to take care of, or, I just really can't. I'm not going to tell you you're right. I'm going to make you think differently about it and change your perspective. Think about who you're telling some of these things to, why you're not taking the steps. So I'm going to give you some solutions here, though. I don't want you to think, oh gosh, Carrie, the first thing that we have to do, everybody, this is not you. And this is what I was saying before. Like when I talk to my clients and I have everybody kind of in a group and I see them coming on to our session, I'm like, I know these people, so I know how to talk to them. I don't know what your exact situation is, but I know this is happening to you. It's happening to all of us. And it might not be about health and wellness, but it might be about something else. Maybe you feel like you need to change directions in your career and you're not. And your truth, which is a lie, is telling you you don't have to change. Right? So but I'm using health and wellness because I see the thousands of people that keep telling me that they know they need to do something and change something, but now is not the right time. Truth, that is not true. Just not true. There will never be the right time. Ever. Has life ever slowed down enough for you? I think about my teenagers who are busier than anybody, and then me, who's busier than anybody. Like, we're all busier than anybody, right? It's never the right time. But the truth allows us to feel like it is. So here's your first step. If this is resonating with you, put some sort of comment in so I know I'm not just talking to myself. But here's your first step. You have to acknowledge that your view might be biased. In fact, I should say it more emphatically than that. Your view is biased. It just is. It's based on your experiences. I'll be real honest with you. My experiences as a white woman is biased to me being a white woman. I cannot understand that perspective of a Black woman because I am not a Black woman. There is a bias there. And it doesn't mean it's good or bad or right or wrong. It just simply is. So I need you to think about that when you think about any other truth, any other opinion, any other justification. It's biased. When I think about my yoga teacher, his viewpoint in the front of the room was biased to his location, and mine was biased to mine. I saw a woman walk out of yoga class today, and then I saw 2 other women walk out. And let me tell you what I thought. This yoga teacher, he was kind of nasty, really loud and obnoxious. I've never actually had a yoga teacher like that. And it kind of made me a little bit yucky. I didn't like it very much. But by the end, I actually really appreciated the push that he had, but I felt uncomfortable. And then I was sitting in my truth, like, this guy's a jerk. This guy's a jerk. That was my truth. And 3 people left. So I made the assumption that they were really annoyed too, and they just walked out. I have no idea why they did, but I know that my truth in the moment was that I was annoyed. And so I assumed everyone else was, and it became my truth. And then I actually did this first step that I'm going to tell you about. As soon as I start to have an opinion or have a feeling of frustration, or I don't take action and I have this justification for it, even though it's something I want, like I wanted to be in yoga and I actually thought about leaving. That right there, that's my trigger. My view is biased. Carrie, your view is biased. It's totally okay. We were literally designed that way. Your view is biased. Your next step is then to suspend that view. Just suspend it. Just stop it. It's like a blind spot that gets in our way. So I literally did that today in yoga. I was like, hold that thought. Hold it. I'm like in a pose. I'm like, hold that thought, Carrie. Right? We have to suspend that for 1 second. Just suspend the notion that my view is the right view. And literally just ask yourself, is it possible that there could be another truth around that? Is that possible? And I answered yes. There could be 10 reasons why they walked out of that room. And also, I didn't like the way that yoga teacher made me feel, so I had all sorts of opinions about it. And maybe they were wrong. I mean, just because I felt a certain way didn't mean it was right. But my truth tells me that. My truth tells me that I'm right. And I was totally justified if I wanted to walk out because he was a jerk. Well, it turns out I actually talked to him after class and he wasn't a jerk at all. But my truth in that moment was biased. So what are you believing? I can't do a call with one of Carrie's coaches. They're just going to try to sell me something. I don't have time. I am just too busy right now. This is just not the right time. Or it's not that big of a deal. You know what? I'm on medication for my diabetes. It's fine. None of that is actually going to get you to what you say you want. Are your actions connected with what you say you want? Probably not. Okay, so then you got to look at, what are my thoughts? Because let's say I have these thoughts that say, I am too busy. I just don't want to be coached. I really don't want to get on a phone call with somebody. I don't like being on the phone, or I don't like Zoom. I don't want to do that. Okay, all of those are thoughts. So will any of those thoughts magically translate into actions where you are learning how to eat to balance your blood sugar, where you are thinking about your thinking while you are actually exhibiting the behaviors of a very healthy person? Not possible. You can't have these misguided truths and have actions of what a healthy, vibrant person does who dies younger later to be misaligned. When one is not aligned with the other, you will never get the result. So you got to get back to this original thought. Your thoughts are biased. So the minute you have decided that you are not going to show up for yourself, that's the moment when you say, wait a minute, why? Stop. Suspend the truth that you are telling yourself. That's that little voice in your head, the little narrator in your head telling you that this is true. Suspend that voice and ask yourself, what if that wasn't true? What if it isn't that I'm too busy and really I just am not making the time? Then what? Then you got to either live with the fact that I am not doing this, or you got to be able to start changing and doing something differently. But as long as you have the truth of I'm too busy, you will never do anything about it because you have decided that that is true and there's nothing you can do about it. It's just fact. Oh my gosh. Is this making sense? So the biggest thing that I guess I want to say is that your game is the game that you set up for yourself is not winnable if your truth will set you up for failure. I'm going to say that again. The game that you're setting yourself up to play, you'll never, ever win if your truth sets you up for failure. Put in game in the comments if you're with me. Because it's this game that you're playing with yourself. It's just like negotiation. It's this game. You want something, but you're not willing to go get it. And you're not digging into why. So if your truth is not set up for success, you're never going to win the game. So don't think just because January 1st came, it was magical and I have the motivation, so now I'm going to do it. Your motivation is your truth for the moment. Oh, I'm motivated. And then when you're not motivated, you say, I'm just not motivated anymore, so I can't do it. Truth, not reality. Your truth is not necessarily your reality, and it's holding you back. And I want you to be able to see it. So I say all this because if you really do want something different, you have to do something different. You have to get out of your comfort zone. Uncomfortable feels different. We innately as humans don't like that. I always joke that I don't like to be uncomfortable. I don't like, that really misty, cold rain. I hate that. I'll run through it and I'll be like with Peter, I hate being uncomfortable. We hate it. And getting on a phone call to talk about your story might feel uncomfortable. But get yourself out of that uncomfort because nothing grows when you're just comfortable. You'll never get stronger. You'll never win this game if you sit in the bias of comfortable. And you might not like the way you look right now or feel, but actually that's more comfortable than doing something about it. That's the truth. That's not serving you. So we got to change the truth. And it is changeable. So I am putting a link in. I want you to book a call, get on our little survey, just so we can know a little bit more about you. I'm going to make you watch a little bit of a training, 20 minutes, so you can understand what really does make us different. And then get on a phone call, 15 minutes with a coach. And just know that we love on our women because we know that we were not put on this earth to find the right diet. We were not put on this earth to self-sabotage. We were not put on this earth to have this horrible obsession and relationship with food in our body. We were put on this earth for something so more. If you have ever counted calories or gone on keto or intermittent fasted or any of these things just to do this whole nonsense, then you know that that is miserable. And let me tell you how much harder it is to do that time and time again, not only on your brain, but in your heart, but on your body. And literally, women that we work with left and right have dieted their way to diabetes and death. Because that's the next path if you don't do something about it. So that's much harder than actually just saying, all right, you know what? My truth is biased. I've been making excuses. I'm just going to go do something a little bit different right now. 15 minutes. That's it. And then if you get on a call with one of my senior coaches, they're really well equipped. No matter what it is that you say you need or want, we're going to find the strategy to help you. We do not let any woman leave a conversation without feeling like she knows her next steps, even if it's not working with us, because we can't work with everybody. So we have to have other solutions for you, and we do. But we won't just put them on a website, and we won't just say, here's a freebie. We want to know you so we can direct you in the right direction. Got it? All right. Guys, thank you for letting me just sort of rant and rave a little bit because it's really been on my heart. And now I have it documented. And now we're here. Put your comments in about what you're taking away from this and what your next action is going to be that actually breaks the circuit of this cycle of mistruths that you've been telling yourself. What are you taking away? What are you going to do about it? Bye.